Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the State of the Multiverse podcast. This is episode 5. I'm Ryan, and I'm joined
And I'm
by,
John.
this guy right here. It's been a while, so we're going to go through this week by week and talk about some series. Because it's been so long that we've forgotten a little bit of stuff. So let's start with the first week of April. We'll just jump right in. And when we get to a series that has multiple issues that have come out, we can just talk about both of them.
Yeah, in tandem.
So, Batman 107 came out this week, and I believe 108 came out pretty recently too, and 109,
Yep.
right?
109's not out yet. 108 just came out last week.
You caught up on that?
Yep, with the girl Miracle Molly.
Another new character from Tynan coming out. Book is probably going to be worth something at some point. It seems like
She
everything.
cameoed in I think 106. Now you're more into the collector aspect than I am, so I don't know which one will matter more. But this is her first like full on appearance.
The market will dictate. It's completely random, from what I can tell, uh, based on anything. Like certain characters' first cameos are worth like almost nothing. Like Venom's first cameo comparatively to first appearance of Venom is worth like almost nothing. Same with Carnage. But then you have some characters whose like first like cameo is worth a lot.
Like
So
Punchline when you had 4 first appearances because no one really knew what counted.
yep, exactly. And then you just have to let the market dictate what people care about. What else we got? I'll leave this till the end. But Swamp Thing 2 and 3 have both come out. Have you read both of those?
I've read 2. I have not read 3 yet.
Okay, I'm caught up. I really liked issue 2. And I liked issue 3 a bunch too, but I think issue 2 was like a big home run. Um,
In the post Alec Holland swampy world.
yeah, so that's like the only thing that I'm sort of iffy on. Is like I don't know how I feel about Alec Holland not being Swamp Thing anymore, but the actual book itself has been really good. I mean, the second issue had the sort of first confrontation with the do you remember what he's called? The bad guy.
Pale Man or the Pale Wanderer?
Yeah. You've got some cool secondary characters in this book. The third issue sort of slows down after that confrontation. It deals with Levi in the Green interacting with certain other members of the Green, um, including Poison Ivy and a few other Swamp Thing staple characters. So it's pretty
Such as.
interesting. Woodrue and Alec Holland both make an appearance
Oh,
in
nice.
issue 3. So that's pretty interesting. I'm really liking the art for that book a lot. It reminds me of, I just reread the New 52 Swamp Thing stuff. It kind of reminds me of Yannick Paquette's artwork. It's different,
Nice
but it's still,
horror vibe.
yeah, it's still like good horror artwork.
Yeah, it's like a cool suspense horror with like the paneling and how it's all laid out.
Yeah, for sure. This one is one that this is one of the ones that I look forward to reading, not just because I love the character, but it's actually just been really good.
Yeah, it's just a good read.
We got Suicide Squad, so 2 and 3 are out at the time of this recording, and I believe Teen Titans Academy comes out next week.
Yep, 2 is out. I believe 3 is out.
It's either this Wednesday or next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Because Suicide Squad and Teen Titans Academy both tie in together.
I have to say, I think Suicide Squad is one of the stronger books in the Infinite Frontier era.
It feels like it's been winding up for something, and I'm excited to see like where it sort of ends up, because clearly these first like 5 or 6 issues are going to be about building the new Suicide Squad after Tom Taylor's run.
Yeah.
You've got sort of out of the blue, out of the blue, but sort of a strange inclusion with Superboy. You got Peacemaker, Talon, eventually Bolt. Spoiler alert, because of Future State, we're aware that Bolt becomes part of the Suicide Squad, but we don't really know why. There seems to be some sort of
past between her and Waller.
Yeah, a background that we're gonna probably learn more about in Suicide Squad 4. I don't think we'll see a
Yeah.
lot of it in Titans Academy 3.
And then we also have Nocturna and oh, I can't remember the last one's name.
The big woman
Yes.
who makes the jokes.
Yes.
And then, not to mention, we have Red X appearing between both titles.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird crossover for these two because Suicide Squad is way more heavy-handed
Yeah.
than Titans Academy. Like Titans Academy feels like a pretty lighthearted book, all things considered. You've got the Red X stuff going on in the background, but for the most part, it's like teenagers who have powers.
Just they're just being teenagers. It's almost like a older X-Men book in a way.
Yeah, and then Suicide Squad has suicide in the name, and
Yeah,
like
that's all you need to know. Waller already blew up what's his face's head, Keymaster.
yeah, like a bunch of people died in issue 1. The
Yeah.
breakout of Arkham in issues 1 and 2 have far-reaching consequences throughout the different DC books. They
I'm
talk
kind of
about
liking
it
that
in
a lot,
Joker.
actually.
Yeah, I'm sort of liking how interconnected some of this stuff is. I will say though, I'm not super happy with the fact that it all very clearly is tying into Future State, because it's kind of like, okay, we all know where this is all going to end up.
Yeah, and they really pushed that Future State was like a possible future, but they're trying to make it seem like it's the future.
Especially
Something
with
something
books.
5G never ended. I feel like I say that every episode.
Yeah, especially with books like Suicide Squad, Teen Titans, a few of the Bat Family books, and then the Superman books. Those ones in particular are like super. Oh, and Green Lantern are super heavy-handed in how connected they are to Future State, Crime Syndicate as well. It's like almost all of them. Like Nightwing doesn't feel like it's leading to that point. There's a few other books. Wonder Woman, obviously, because Future State Wonder Woman takes place at the end of time. So,
Yeah.
you know, probably not going to catch up to that anytime soon.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, Suicide Squad and Teen Titans, like in tandem, have been an interesting read because it's nice to see like how they get there. Um, I'm also pretty interested in. They announced an Out of the Pages of Titans Academy Shazam book, because we previously mentioned how it was like kind of weird that Shazam was going to the Teen Titans Academy.
Oh yeah, even though he's like actively hung out with the Justice League.
Yeah, he's been an active member of the Justice League and the Justice Society, like especially after Death Metal, where everything matters.
Yeah.
And he's also going alone. None of the Shazamly is there, which is I'm curious if like they're not there because they're not Shazam anymore. Other than Mary Marvel and Freddie Freeman, they were part of the Marvel family before Flashpoint. The other characters were added later. So I'm
Yeah.
curious,
So
like,
those two, if anything, may be the ones to show up in future media because those are the ones that people know and really resonate with.
well, a lot of people know the whole cast now because of the Shazam movie being based on the New 52 version of the character. So
True, true, yes.
I'm just like, I'm interested if that's where that will end up. But yeah, Suicide Squad and Teen Titans have both been pretty good reads. I'm personally sort of putting them in the middle of the road, but I know that you said Suicide Squad was one that you felt was really strong.
I'm really liking Suicide Squad. Teen Titans is like, I'll be able to judge that when the first arc is over because we very clearly have like we said before, we have the kids being kids and learning their powers, but Red X is still the backdrop, and that's still very clearly the focus of the book.
Yeah. So the future for those two, I'm looking forward to, especially like we said, like this in like 2 days, we'll find, or I guess technically for you it's tomorrow because you read most things digitally.
Not anymore. Since I started picking up the physical books, I've just why buy it twice?
One of us. One of us.
Don't worry, I'll change my ways again in like 3 months when I run out of space.
Oh no. You think that, and then you just find more space. 15 short boxes later, and I can confirm that for sure. But a couple more books from this week that are worth talking about. Green Lantern 1 and 2 are out now. Um,
Yep.
did you catch up on Green Lantern, or have you only read the first one, or did you read any of them?
Yep. Nope. I read both. I didn't read the future state stuff that it's connected to, but I did read both of the Infinite Frontier issues.
Yeah, so the Infinite Frontier stuff that just happened is almost directly touching where Green Lantern Future State was. Green Lantern Future State seems to be the closest quote unquote possible future um in the Infinite Frontier sort of timeline. Probably pretty closely followed by Superman and then Batman with Gotham. But yeah,
Let
so
me see. They actually they put out a timeline of when stuff was, so
they did, but
might
it
be.
wasn't a full timeline when they released it, if I remember correctly. Like there were books missing.
Uh,
But yeah, the Green Lantern stuff is interesting. Teen Lantern finally showing up outside of the pages of Young Justice. Another Brian Michael Bendis creation, sort of getting more love alongside Naomi.
yep. I
Um,
mean, Bendis has been teasing on Twitter for and Instagram for months now that big things were happening from Naomi, and it's. I mean, I'm willing to bet that plans for Infinite Frontier and Future State were happening well before even Death Metal. So I'm sure like this is what he had been referring to, the Justice League stuff.
yep. I like how all the Green Lanterns sort of show up in this. I'm curious if they're gonna make some spin-off books for characters like Jessica Cruz, um, all the lanterns that were sort of sent off in the
Yeah,
periphery.
like to Quest or whatever.
The quest ones I think are gonna be handled pretty handily here. It's the ones that were sent to the what did they call them? Like the special worlds.
Oh, the Crux worlds.
Yeah, the Crux worlds where like Hal Jordan protects Earth. Jessica Cruz got sent to one. Um, I think Kyle Rayner got sent to another one. I know that Guy Gardner and John Stewart were questing. I think maybe Simon Baz got sent to another one of the Crux worlds. Um,
Yeah,
but you just have a lot of teen lantern. You have a lot of Green Lanterns doing a lot of different things, and then Green Lantern, the Teen Lantern. Jesus Christ, Teen Lantern was sort of like
Kelly.
this.
Kelly. We'll just call her Kelly.
Yeah, so we know she ends up with Mogu. Um,
Yep.
but then at the end of book two, the central power battery explodes and like everyone is dead. And the only one whose Green Lantern seems to work properly is Kelly's
Joe.
and Joe. And how based on what we know from Future State, it's Hal Jordan, Joe, and Teen Lantern are the only three whose like lanterns still work. And
Yeah.
that could just be because Joe and Hal's still have a charge left.
And all yeah, because Teen Lanterns isn't registered. When Joe got there, she was talking to her battery, and it said there was no other lanterns there, even though Joe was just looking at Teen Lantern.
Yep, she's not technically a Green Lantern. She's some sort of. She's just a girl who has some stolen technology grafted onto her hand, basically.
Didn't she like hack into it or something? Wasn't that explained in Young Justice?
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've read like her initial appearance in Young Justice, so I don't remember exactly what it was. But she basically got it the same way Hal Jordan got his ring, where like an alien shows up and she just gets it. It's just like alien garbage. So that was the whole sort of problem with her is they were
Just
like,
alien garbage with vague connections to the central power battery.
yeah, they're like, how the fuck do you have this? This is contraband. You can't have this. You're a child.
Also, rip the Green Lantern Corps, like a third of it.
Yeah, well, they die all the time. It's not that.
No, that's not what I meant. I just meant like the Guardians just restructuring them to deal with the fact that they've been integrated into the United Planets or whatever.
Oh yeah, but all those other lanterns, they just get to quest or whatever. At least they're not
Yeah.
losing their lanterns outright. The Green Lantern status quo is one that will always break and then just be put back together. That's just how it is.
True. I also like that the Guardians addressed the fact that Earth has 7 Green Lanterns.
Yeah, because they just keep getting them.
Yep.
Yeah, Green Lantern's been interesting. This is one where I'm curious to see where it's going because this is gonna be the first one that gives us probably the first one to give us some form of satisfying conclusion to any Future State storyline.
Oh, yep.
So that's why I'm curious about this one. Couple more from this week. Crime Syndicate 2 and 3 are out. Have you caught up on Crime Syndicate?
Yes.
How are you feeling about Crime Syndicate?
So I think this is one of those books where I don't think anyone was really like pining for it, but it's still really fun to read. Um, I'm a little confused as to why Donna Troy is the Superwoman when Lois Lane was the Superwoman for the Crime Syndicate, like post Flashpoint. But I'll nitpick that later. The story's been fun. Uh, it's fun seeing Ultraman just be a dick and them bash around a couple of Starros. I don't really foresee this having any impact on the DCU at large, but it's a fun read so far.
Yeah. I'm enjoying the backup stories where it gives like their origin. Sort
Yeah,
of.
I really liked Superwoman's in the most recent issue.
Yeah. Superwoman's was cool. I like Owlman's. I think what we got Owlman, Ultraman, and Superwoman are the three that we've gotten, right?
Yeah.
Um,
And is Crime Syndicate going to be 5 or 6?
it's 6.
All right, so Emerald Knight, Johnny Quick, and what, Atomica?
Yeah, probably. We also know that sort of again, thanks Future State. Um, that the Suicide Squad is going to end up on the Crime Syndicate's Earth at some point.
Yep.
That's probably the biggest reason that they're getting a book at all right now, is because after this book ends, they're going to be sort of integrated into the Suicide Squad. Not as members.
See, I'm glad you read a lot more of the Future State stuff than I did. So like you also have this extra backdrop of knowledge that I don't.
Yeah, which is like, it's good for discussion purposes, but it's kind of a bummer because like a lot of this stuff I know exactly where it's going, which is a little disappointing.
Yeah.
But still, I'm some half the fun of reading comic books is how you get there, because 90% of comic books by the time they end reset the status quo in some way or form.
Yeah.
So
they're just going to reset the status quo, and the things that resonated with the most readers will stick around.
Yeah, so like it may take like a little longer, but at the end of this, everything will probably return to generally the way it was. But yeah, Crime Syndicate's like a pretty good book. It's okay. It's a 6-issue miniseries. But it sort of functions strange because it's a 6-issue miniseries, but like at the end of issue 3, they beat Starro.
Yeah. So like, are they going to have just 2 mini arcs? Because that would be kind of weird.
Yeah, that's why it's kind of weird, right? Like I figured it would be like a 6-issue arc, but then Starro attacked in like the first issue.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of cute that they're attacking Starro as like the formation of the Crime Syndicate as a certain other super team formed by fighting Starro.
Yes, of course. We've got to have those deep cut references to the first appearance of the Justice League.
From just little D-list team you might have heard of.
Yeah, they haven't done much to impact pop culture or anything.
Nah.
But so at the end, Starro says that he was like trying to escape someone. I can't remember who it was. They explicitly tell you. This is one of the problems that comes with reading too many books, though. It's like my brain can't handle all the information that's jammed.
Yeah, exactly. You just have vague memories of all of the books.
Who was it? It was the Lanterns. Their
or what are they, the Emerald Knight Corps or whatever they are over there.
Starro was trying to escape the Emerald Knights. That's what it was. So that's gonna be like the second mini arc, I guess.
Yeah.
Interested to see how John Stewart Emerald Knight deals with that. And then the last one that came out this week that I've been enjoying immensely is the next Batman Second Son, and that one has had issues 1 and 2 release since our last podcast. You were reading this digitally when it was coming out initially, right?
I read the first couple of issues. I own a lot of them because they're $1 and Comixology just gives them to me. But I haven't read a lot of them. I remember he was fighting with his brother, uh, and that's about all I remember.
So there's a lot of cool stuff going on in this book. You have Luke still being Batwing. There's a lot of references to his time as Batwing during the New 52. Um,
That's cool because I feel like that's a really like forgotten character.
yeah, like the only reason I even knew Batwing existed was because of when we like first got the rumors that 5G was happening and that Batman was going to be black. Everyone assumed that it would be Luke Fox,
Yeah.
and they were like, "Well, his first appearance as Batwing is Batwing. I think it's 19 or something." So, um, they do like deep cuts back to that with their sister falls ill from something that she caught back then, and they were like, we thought that she was fine, and they're like, oh well, it came back. And then you just have sort of this Luke Jace sort of yin and yang where they try to deal with it different ways, and their little sister at the end of the book ends up going to Jace's side because she knows Luke is Batwing and he failed to save their sister, so she goes over to Jace. It's an interesting family dynamic, and I'm kind of curious to see if by the end of this, I'm not sure if it's ended digitally, so people who read digitally might already know what I'm about to ponder on.
I believe it has ended digitally.
Because I'm curious if the next Batman's second son ends with him deciding to don some kind of bat persona, or if this is just sort of a teaser to what could come.
I'm gonna go slightly toward the former because I saw a thumbnail of him like, staring at the next Batman suit.
Okay, so that's pretty telling.
Yeah.
Just some quick stuff before we move on. King in Black ended since the last time we were on, and that was a really, really good read.
Major shakeup for the Marvel universe.
Yep. Donnie Cates decided to make Eddie Brock a god. A literal
Yep, and
god.
as of this recording, where one event ends, another one begins. Heroes Reborn has dropped its first issue.
Yep, which I found super. We usually don't talk a ton about Marvel, but I really enjoyed Heroes Reborn #1.
I also did. I managed. I got around to reading it.
It's a really good artwork. I wasn't privy to the original Heroes Reborn storyline in any like meaningful way. I know it existed, so this is sort of my first exposure to a lot of the Squadron Supreme characters.
Did you get the little like trading cards?
I did not.
I did actually. The guy at our LCS popped it in my bag. I didn't notice it until afterwards, but I didn't open it. But it's a little packet of they just look like little trading cards.
I'll have to see if they have them next time I'm in, because I was enjoying this. I'm also enjoying that I believe that event is weekly, so we don't have to wait like 7 months for this to end. I think it's just under 2 months is when this will be over, and there's not like as of right now, there's not a crazy amount of tie-ins. I think it's like 2 tie-ins a week, which for Marvel
is very very generous.
But yeah, that's it for this week, except for the big book that we'll talk about at the end because we're both invested. Shooting over to next week. So we have Wonder Woman. We talked about this a little the other day. This one has been kind of disappointing me.
Yeah, this one I think is actually the weakest of the Infinite Frontier relaunch books, which is really disappointing, actually.
It's really disappointing because, like, I don't know, like, we have this problem of her journeying around the God Sphere, and then we get this kind of nothing story.
Yeah.
That I do appreciate that it's super self-contained. Like, if you just like Wonder Woman and you don't want to have to read anything else, this is like an okay book to pick up. Because you really don't have to know anything other than she's Wonder Woman.
And I liked like the inherent concept because so I've peeked a little bit at the solicitations, and the general MO for Wonder Woman for the next couple of months is she's just going to be hopping around the God Sphere through like different cultures, mythologies, which is pretty cool. And I just hope that the next one she goes to has a bit more of a, better story than this Norse one that we're in.
Yeah. Um, this one's just been, yeah, it's not scratching the itch that I wanted it to, especially
Yeah.
kind of coming off the heels of Mariko Tamaki's run on the book and Death Metal, which was a very Wonder Woman heavy book.
Yeah.
This one didn't feel like a great follow up. The characters all just kind of fall flat, and I have
Yeah.
trouble kind of caring about what's happening. The only sort of interesting thing is when she kind of remembers what her life used to be like when she meets Dr. Psycho. That was interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, not unfortunately not a lot going on there. Superman, we got the conclusion to, or no, we already had the conclusion to the Space Rift story. We're getting the beginning of John Kent as Superman, as well as
Yeah, and the
Superman
War World
and,
stuff.
yeah, and the War World stuff in Action Comics. This is another book where it's like kind of a bummer because we know that
Exactly where it's going because of Future State.
Exactly, which is just like unfortunate. But how we get there could be pretty cool. Superman has grown on me more recently, and we know that Tom Taylor is picking up Superman in June or July. It's really soon.
Yeah, as John Kent becomes the homeboy of Metropolis.
Yep. So, I've been liking the backup stories with Midnighter. I think they're gonna tie into the main Superman or the main Action comic story because I think Action is just gonna stay Clark Kent, and then
It is.
Superman is gonna be Jonathan Kent specific. So I think that the Superman book where we're kind of focusing on John is probably gonna be kind of not super interesting until Tom Taylor comes up because they're really just buying time until they reboot the book at #1. But the Action comic stuff I'm looking forward to.
What was it? I read Harley Quinn, and again, Riley Rossmo, you're a better artist than I ever will be. It just doesn't tickle my fancy. That being said, even though I don't personally adore his art, I think it is quite fitting for Harley Quinn as a character, and I think the story is kind of cute. Although one thing, I mean, I think DC has pretty much made up their mind with what they want to do with Harley Quinn as a character. But I'm kind of annoyed with the shuffling between anti-hero to hero. Like, just make her a regular hero already. That's very clearly what you've been going for. And I'm pretty sure they've decided that they're going to do that, but I just hope they don't backpedal it in a year.
Yeah. The Joker, I've only read issue 1.
I have also only read issue 1. I own issue 2, but I haven't gotten there yet.
It was a really strong issue 1. I really enjoyed it. We'll kind of talk about this more once we're both caught up. Joker 3 comes out tomorrow/Wednesday, so I'm just gonna read 2 and 3 back to back. But this was a pretty good book. Wish it was just called Gordon so that I didn't miss the boat on the first issue coming out.
Yeah.
Batman the Detective by Tom Taylor. Did you pick this up?
I picked it up. I haven't read it yet. How is it?
It was a really strong start. A lot of references back to some stuff that Grant Morrison was doing. It takes place in the UK. You can see on the cover Big Ben's in the background. The girl that was teased is Squire, the new Squire, which is sort of part of like a Batman-esque UK duo.
Okay.
A lot of sort of inner monologuing from Batman in this one, where he kind of he very much resembles the Dark Knight, where he's sort of like, I'm kind of old, like my joints can't handle some of this stuff anymore.
Yeah, because it is an older Bruce, so kind of like a new age Dark Knight Returns, albeit a little less doom and gloom.
Yep, and this is another one. The next issue comes out this upcoming week. I think this book kind of iterates why I'm not a super huge Batman fan. because I can tell that it's well written and I like how Tom Taylor writes, but sometimes Batman just doesn't hit for me.
Yeah, same.
And for the first issue, I thought it was really good. The art is great, but like it didn't hit like some Batman stories did. But
I
it's only
think
six
like the
issues.
current Batman run is and this is no disrespect to Tom Taylor. Tynan's Batman I've been really enjoying a lot. Uh Tamaki's Detective I've been really liking a lot.
Yeah, I think my problem with Taylor's Batman is it's so different from Tamaki's action, or not action
Yeah,
detective.
Detective.
Um, because Tamaki's detective is sort of like what I'm really looking for in a Batman book. I still have not caught up on Tynan stuff. I'm getting my second COVID shot on Tuesday, so I'll probably be out of commission. Maybe I'll take some time there to read that.
Yep.
Although I have some other things that I definitely need to catch up on.
If you're not feeling like complete trash on Wednesday, uh actually will you be able to make it to the shop?
Oh, I always make it to the only time I've missed New Comic Book Day in the past like 2 years was when I had COVID.
All right, perfect.
And that was because I couldn't leave the house, not because I felt too sick. So I'll fucking be there. Have you been reading Challenge of the Super Sons?
No.
So this book is pretty cool. It's like a retroactive story, or it takes place before Jonathan Kent goes to the future.
Yeah, because he's still the super son.
Yep, and it's pretty cool. It's just more Damien, Jonathan. They're clearly best friends, but they don't want to admit it. Hijinks. Um,
Yeah.
I
I
haven't read the previous Super Sons run, but I've read everything prior to that. I want to read it soon. If they release some sort of hardcover or non-softcover collected edition, I'd love to pick it up and read it.
They will. The super sons are too popular not to, and it may have already been solicited.
Well, so they
I
they
usually I
reprinted.
usually only skim solicitations anyway, and I barely even look at the solicitations for collected editions.
Yeah, well, so they reprinted quote unquote the Super Sons omnibus, and they put in those issues. So it's called the expanded edition,
Yep.
but I already have the regular edition, so I don't really want to like buy another copy of something that I already own
Yeah.
for that much money when I for basically just I think it was 12 issues was the last series, 16 something like that. So
Yeah, it wasn't super long.
yeah, that book has been really good. The art is good. And then I'll let you go off on this one. Lock and Key Sandman finally came out 7 months late.
So, Lock and Key Sandman is like he said, 7 months late. Was teased for what, Halloween?
Yeah, it was supposed to come out October 30th, I believe, of 2020.
So we'll get back to that big one because it's only going to be 2 issues. We'll talk about that one next time when it's finished because that's just going to be fun all the way around.
Okay, cool. Because I haven't read issues 0 or 1 yet. Um, but knowing that it's just 2 issues, that means that I can just sort of binge read it when the second one
Yeah.
comes out. All right, moving on to the next week. We have this is like the big week, the week of good things coming out. So Flash, 769, featuring Gold Beetle and Wally West inhabiting Impulse's body. Have you read the Flash? Are you keeping up with the Flash?
Yes. I liked the Flash more than I expected to. Because I was never a huge like Flash fan, and I don't know. I just really ended up enjoying Wally West's hijinks. I ended up enjoying Gold Beetle. I know the little tagline was from 768 was like the return of Gold Beetle, and I was like, well, who is this? And now that I read 769, I'm really interested to see in more things that she has been in.
Yep. Um, I think we'll probably we have solicited by Dan Jurgens a Blue Beetle and Booster Gold series. It would not
Yep.
surprise me if she appears in that.
Yep. Breaking
Um,
some more time rules.
yep. You know how I feel about Dan Jurgens. I don't know really. Sometimes he
Yeah,
hits it, and
exactly.
sometimes he doesn't.
I know how you feel, but you don't.
I'm really liking the concept of this Flash book. I'm kind of hoping that it wraps up pretty soon though, this arc. I'd like to see Wally West get back to being Wally West again because, you
Yeah.
know, for the last 10 years he's either not existed or not been himself for significant portions of that time.
Yeah.
But but next issue we get Jay Garrick. So
Yes.
I'm never going to complain about that.
It's always fun with certain mustachio dictators wielding the spear of destiny.
Yep, some
A nice
JSA.
callback to the final days of the Justice Society, which is a great book if you haven't read it.
Of course I have. I've read them all. Well, I've read most of them.
Yeah.
I got to go back and read some All-Star comics. But yeah, I'm really enjoying Flash. This is one that I'm actually one of the books that I'm more excited to pick up. Um, every month when it sort of shows up in my polls, I'm like, yes, okay, like more Flash. So, and that kind of came out of nowhere for me. So that was good. Um, we before we came on, neither of us have been reading Catwoman, so unfortunately we can't really discuss that.
Yeah. I that like I'm still pulling it, so I'll get to it when I get to it. But as I mentioned when we talked about it previously, it has a problem where like Infinite Frontier is very clearly a soft reboot, like Rebirth, but Catwoman doesn't really feel that way because it's still expecting you to have read other stuff. And I know uh like some of the Bat books have been doing the same thing with constant references to the Joker War, but I feel like there's a little bit of a difference when you're referencing a line-wide event versus when you're referencing random conversations people had 2 months before, 2 issues before the relaunch.
yeah, especially because Catwoman wasn't a book that was doing super hot before the relaunch, and a lot of people were like, "All right, well maybe now I can give Catwoman another chance." We're
Yeah,
at a
which
soft
was pretty much
reset.
my mentality. Like outside of I'm going to pull everything for the first couple of months, I was also just kind of excited to go into everything with an open mind. But then like I felt a little lost with Catwoman.
Yeah, so that's unfortunate. But we have two of my favorite books that DC's coming out. I've heard some mixed reviews on Justice League. So Justice League 60 came out,
I
including
like it.
the Justice League Dark backup story. I'm really enjoying both of the stories in the Justice League books. The art is fantastic for both of them.
Agreed.
Um, and I think that Bendis was able to assemble a Justice League that he can write well. Some of his Superman and Batman dialogue is like a little bit Bendisy.
That's what I was thinking with the his Aquaman dialogue when he was signing the autographs for the kids.
See, I didn't mind it with Aquaman, but I think he really hits home Black Canary and Green Arrow's sort of couple dynamic. I think he does a really good job with them.
Yeah.
I think he did a good job with Hippolyta. Naomi's his own creation, so her voice coming from him is gonna sound the most authentic
Yeah.
for now, at least.
And
And then
honestly, even though Hippolyta hasn't been like inducted yet, even though marketing seems to suggest she will, she's kind of owned every panel and scene she's been in.
yep,
So
yeah, she's like a presence, especially like when you're gonna replace Wonder Woman as Wonder Woman. You really don't have a lot of options for who could do it properly. It's basically just Donna Troy.
yeah,
But then you pull Hippolyta out, and she was only on like 3 pages, but she dominated those pages.
exactly.
And then
I will say, I think the weakest part of the Justice League book is Brutus.
yeah, the villain is, or I should. So if you haven't read Naomi, then the villain is exceptionally nothing. Like it's just like an interdimensional threat that the Justice League has to deal with, and that's fun because you get to see the Justice League deal with them, and you've got some
Yeah.
new members, and things are changing. If you've
But
read
the villain
Naomi,
from Naomi was way more interesting than this dude.
yeah. If you've read Naomi, it's like a little bit more interesting because at least you have that sort of backstory about her world. But yeah, I'm enjoying seeing Black Adam in a book again.
Me
Um,
too.
Uh, and I think that Bendis does a pretty decent job of writing him. I kind of like Bendis's more lighthearted comedic sort of delivery for it sort of shines through in all of
Black
his
Adam.
books.
So I don't know if this was intentional, but did you notice uh the art for Black Adam in a couple of the panels really like this is gonna sound kind of, duh obvious. He's drawing him like Shazam.
Yeah, I mean
I
they're
mean like
basically the
facially. He's
same.
drawing Black Adam more childlike.
Yeah, I think that's just the art style. All of them look kind of sort of rounder and more, I don't know,
Yeah.
friendly, if you will. There's not a lot of hard edges on any of the characters.
The thing that's most peculiar to me is okay, yes, the Black Adam movie is coming. Yes, that is very much a reason as to why he's here. Um but like Black Adam has just been a presence, particularly with the Justice League for the last couple of months and years because he was a key player in Endless Winter. He was the secondary antagonist of Doomsday Clock. So like he's been around.
Yeah, he was even, just starting from the New 52, like you had him as the main antagonist in a backup story for the Justice League that ran for like a year and a half. Um he's been in a lot of stuff. He was in Injustice 2 as a main character. Um they've been kind of like subtle. I mean, even before like Black Adam's just like a very strong presence in DC Comics that no one really thinks about unless they're
Yeah.
a comics fan. Like he was a pretty integral player in John's JSA run from like the early 2000s almost all the way until like 2008 or something. Like he would pop in and out. So he was a part of the 52, that 52-week series that they did. So him
Yep.
showing up in something, I don't know. I've always enjoyed him just as much as I enjoyed Captain Marvel. So I like the team that they've assembled for Justice League a lot. I think Bendis is doing a good job. I'm also really liking the Justice League Dark backup story, although they could call it Shadow Pact, and I think that
Because
would be
that's what it is.
perfectly. Yeah, it's basically just Shadow Pact now that Swamp Thing and Man Bat are gone.
Yeah.
Um, like if Enchantress shows up, then you just call it Shadow Pact from then on.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool. We've got Merlin. I like seeing Etrigan the Demon sweat a little bit. This is a cool backup story. Good art. Romvi did some pretty good stuff with Justice League Dark before the reboot. A lot of callbacks to how Diana used to lead the team.
Yep. And now it's on Zatanna now.
Yep, just some good stuff. And then so this week when I got this when this week was pulled for me in my polls, I was so excited because I saw the Flash, Justice League, and Nightwing all in one week, and I was like, generally speaking, I can usually put off reading books for like a couple days if I'm not like feeling it on Wednesday. But that Wednesday, I came home and I sat down and I had to read at least those 3 books. Nightwing continues to be the best Infinite Frontier book, and I don't think it's even questionable.
No, I'm inclined to agree.
Super wholesome, great artwork. Um, Nightwing continuing to be the hero's hero, but we're also getting some seeds planted for like a really cool overarching story, like an actual story arc that isn't just Nightwing being wholesome.
Yeah, of him like not even like fixing up Bloodhaven because it's pretty clear that he's not able to do that with all of the rampant corruption, but at the very least make it a little bit better for the disenfranchised people of Bloodhaven, which is just about the entire population.
Yeah, this sort of hammering home that like just because he's Nightwing doesn't mean the only way he can save people is by being Nightwing. That Dick Grayson is a good person, and that's why Nightwing is such a good hero. Also some really nice Barbara Gordon relationship stuff, which does still conflict pretty heavily with Titans Academy. They even talk about it in Titans Academy.
Just about to bring that up. I'm liking the interconnected nature that a lot of these books are having, because I feel like that was missing in a lot of, it was definitely missing in the New 52. But even like the tail end of Rebirth was missing a lot of that.
Yeah. This other than like company events like Endless Winter and Joker War,
Yeah.
there was almost
Like
no intermingling between continuity, even
it's nice
remotely.
reading a book and feeling like it's just a piece of a bigger whole, and I've been feeling that with a lot of these books.
Yeah. Nightwing continues to be amazing. There's not much more to say about it. It's just that good.
Yeah.
Last week of April, we talked pretty briefly about how Action is setting up the War World stuff. Um, we know where it's going, but it's still pretty interesting.
Yeah, especially with the last page, because it looks like the interesting story to John of a ship of Kryptonians coming to take him to the stars. Looks like that's what's happening.
Yep. Midnighter's backup is more intriguing the closer we get to the Superman and the Authority book by Grant
Morrison.
Morrison.
Yep.
We discussed Teen Titans Academy already. Very briefly. It's still a good book. I'm sort of waiting for the crossover with Suicide Squad to end before I really want to judge this book entirely, because I think that's when they'll be able to actually get into the Red X stuff.
Yeah, and what's like this isn't really a detriment to Teen Titans Academy because this is just something that's going to happen whenever you do a book like this. This is a lot of new characters, and I feel like there are just some of them we are meant to care about more.
Yeah, this book definitely has too many character syndrome.
Oh yeah.
Um, which
And
which
it doesn't
might
help that half of them are the OG Titans.
yeah, it feels like they're trying to like the book is like a little too cluttered. Some of which will probably be solved after this crossover because at the very least, I'm pretty sure Bolt won't be in Teen Titans Academy anymore. She'll be on the Suicide Squad. So that'll
Yeah.
be one less character that they clearly want you to care about that will be sort of in focus.
Yep.
And the Suicide Squad can handle having another character added to their roster, whereas
Oh,
Titans Academy, it's like 40 characters.
yeah, I don't feel like with Titans Academy, I don't feel like there's a risk of losing one or two characters in every issue like there is in Suicide Squad.
Yeah. So that one, my sort of overall impression, I'm gonna like hold off on until they're done with the Suicide Squad stuff, and maybe we get closer to resolving the Red X storyline. I feel like that's gonna be a much bigger selling point than the
The
stuff that's
Suicide Squad
happening
stuff.
right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, we talked about Tamaki's detective run, which has just been awesome.
I really liked the Huntress backup story
Me
way
too.
more than I was expecting to.
I really like the Hunter's backup story. It was really really good.
Yeah.
Hitting you in the feels with just how bad Gotham is, and
Yeah.
and how sort of driving home why a lot of the Gotham heroes don't make personal connections.
Because it pretty much works out for them never.
Yeah. And then the main Batman story, I've been enjoying the sort of Bruce Wayne element of this of Tamaki's run, where it's sort of like he has no money. Well, he doesn't have no money, but he has so little money that he lives in the city now, and he's got these like mini bases. He's being
Yeah. So like
hunted.
I like the mini bases, but
Yeah,
Bruce Wayne has to learn what it's like to be a citizen
be a
and not,
person
you
with
know.
neighbors and social obligations and
Exactly, yeah.
things that he didn't particularly have to deal with if he didn't want to when he was living in Wayne Manor.
Yep.
Um, I'm especially
I
liking
can't
his
remember.
interactions with his neighbor.
Yeah. And he still really didn't really know what to do.
Yeah, he's just like really awkward. Like he clearly has no interpersonal skills and it's showing through.
Hangs out with gods on the regular, has no idea what to do at a dinner party.
Yeah. That's sort of the part of plus the artwork. Dan Mora is a god. Um,
Yeah.
he's writing. He's on another book that came out in the same week as Once in the Future, which I pointed out to you.
Yep.
The story's pretty good, but the artwork is like a 12 out of 10. So Dan Mora is one of my favorite artists. So him being on this book didn't hurt.
I can't remember. Did you say if you read the most recent Batman issue 108?
I did not.
Oh, okay, so I can't really talk about Miracle Molly because I think she's a really interesting character.
Yeah, I gotta catch up because Batman is one of their hotter books right now, and not being able to
Yeah,
talk
just
about
like
it is
thematically, she's an interesting character, and like her interactions with Batman, I really liked.
all right. Cool, cool, cool. I'm interested. Again, Tynan keeps introducing these new characters, and we've seen that a lot of his books are worth a lot of money, regardless of if they should be or not. Um, but yeah, the
Are
sort
you
of Bat
referring to
family.
things that may wound adolescents?
Yeah. Um, that book has no business being as much money as it is for a multitude of different reasons. But anyway, the Bat. Speaking of the Bat family getting some love, Robin #1 was fucking great.
Yes.
The only
I
disappointing thing about it is that I'm a shonen battle slut, and I was like really looking forward to like a normal like a Western comic having a normal shonen style tournament.
So you were hoping for a shonen tournament arc in color?
Yeah, I was like, dude, Robin and Green Arrow's kid in a shonen battle tournament, like, sign me the fuck up.
No,
But
I'm
then he
here for it.
fucking
I was
dies at the end,
never. Yeah, he'll be fine.
and
Um,
yeah, he'll shake it off. It's whatever.
I was never a Damian Wayne fan, and I still probably won't be. But
Yeah,
no, I
Damian
really
Wayne
like
wasn't why I
issue one.
enjoyed this book.
Yeah, I really like Damian Wayne's new outfit. I love the new Robin design.
Yeah, I'm here for it. I like Flatline's design too.
Same. Mother Soul is interesting. Just the concept of the Lazarus tournament. We got Ravager here. We have a couple of other characters. It's
Yep.
just cool stuff. It's a really strong #1.
Yeah, especially coming off that sort of two-part backup story. It sort of delivered on the intrigue that it peaked.
That it's set up, yeah. Because when I was reading the backup, I was like, am I really interested in a Robin book? A Damian Wayne book, no less. And then it just kept eating at the back of my mind as I would see like the little ads for it. And it's Robin #1 is well worth your $4 or $5, whatever it is.
I think it's 4 because it has no backup story and it's not lengthy.
Yeah.
Green Lantern just is sort of a sub discussion. Green Lantern is $5, but it has no backup stories. It's just a longer book, which I find interesting.
Yeah, it has more pages.
I think there's another one that's like that, but I can't remember off the top of my head which one it is.
The art in Green Lantern alone, I think, is enough to justify the extra dollar. Some of those spreads were absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah. Green Lantern lends itself well to 2-page spreads because there's just so many like random Green Lanterns that you can draw in, and it just looks pretty
Yeah.
epic. Last book from this week that I know you've been enjoying a lot, and that I've been enjoying a little bit. Batman Superman.
Yes, that is. I'm liking that more than I thought I would.
I'm waiting for it to have sort of more far-reaching implications because we have those cutaways to like main Earth Batman and
Yeah.
Superman dealing with the guy with his sort of fake
Like
realities that
movie
he's
camera
making
stuff.
through film.
Yeah. So I already liked Gene Lewin Yang from his new Superman run. I read that one to conclusion. So I've already liked him as a writer. He did Superman Smashes the Klan, which is a great 3-issue book.
Yeah, I love that book a lot.
And I don't know, it's like I said the other day, Batman Superman has like the fun like golden age charm without devolving into silver age camp,
Yep.
which I really appreciate. And I don't know, it's fun seeing like the ye olde versions of Batman, Superman, and the gang.
Yep. It's cool. Especially the sort of what is it, Madam Spider or whatever, who's like
Yeah.
a very different version of Lois Lane than we usually see.
Yep.
They've been doing some cool stuff in that book. It's not on the top of my list, but it's definitely nowhere near the bottom. I've been liking it every time I pick it up. That's it for DC. The last book I want to talk about came out in the first week of April. Second issue comes out on Wednesday. Geiger.
Yes.
by the Holy Trinity, Johns, Frank, and Anderson, came out with a real banger of a first issue.
The first book of Mad Ghost Studios, which I guess is working with Image for the time being, and likely permanently. Uh,
Yeah, if I'm
yeah,
not
it's
mistaken, that's like Johns and Frank's like connection
yeah, they own that. That's
universe.
creator
Yeah,
owned.
that's their thing. And
Um,
they're discussing sort of expanding it into a universe of its own.
at the very least, what is it called? Slug and Pocket or whatever.
Um,
There's another Image book
yeah,
coming out
the
that's
one
also
by
by Mad
Williams.
Ghost,
It's
and
by Williamson, right?
I
Or no,
think
Tomasi.
yes,
Yeah,
Tomasi,
it's
Tomasi,
Tomasi. It's
and
something in Slug. It's like Sniper and Slug or something. One
yeah,
of them's the
yeah,
bullet and one of them's the shooter.
and but Geiger. I mean, first of all, it's like you said, it's the Holy Trinity, so really nothing more needs to be said. But this is a really good book.
Yeah, Doom. I mean, obviously it's the same artist, but the sort of similar panel layout to Doomsday Clock. Also, it seems like they decided to go with like an older sort of page design.
Yeah,
With sort of the white edges and stuff. Really cool character design, really cool concept. I'm usually not one to enjoy sort of post-apocalyptic stuff, but
same because I feel like it's very much a like you've seen one, you've seen them all.
yeah, and out of kind of nowhere, two books that are very post-apocalyptic and have sort of piqued my interest. The first being Nocturna, which came out 3 months or 2.5 months ago now, something like that. Nocterra 3 just came out last week, and I've
Yeah,
been enjoying that book heavily. And then Geiger, like when they announced it, I was like, oh my god, like my favorite creative team in comics is doing something, but the concept is one that I don't like. But I'm
yeah,
gonna read it anyway because I like what they do. And then I read it and I was like, oh, like that was awesome.
yeah. It's the design, like the character's design is just fantastic. Um, he himself is a good character. He's just lost everything, but also maybe not.
And then you have sort of that map that they give us with like the sort of division of
Yeah.
territory around where everything was bombed. You have that guy in Las Vegas.
Yeah, the like that child emperor thing.
Yep,
I don't know why I said thing. It's a human.
it's a person.
Yeah.
That thing person.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't really act like a person, but
Yeah, he's a little monster. But I'm sort of this is like a world that I'm way more interested to see grow than I thought I would be interested in.
yeah. We know it's a limited series. They haven't said exactly how many, so it's safe to assume 6 minimum, 10 to 12 maximum.
Yeah, probably. Um, it's so hard to talk about a book like this because like I just liked everything about it.
Yeah, they and
Even
also
down
like
to the variant cover that's glow in the dark. Like
yeah.
that was really cool too.
I mean, that being said, it is still issue 1, so like there's not a ton to talk about yet.
Yep, this is just there was a lot of backstory to his family dying in the bunker and
Mm.
those Yeehaw Hicks who were monsters.
But you know what? It did everything that a first issue is supposed to do. It set up the world, it set up the characters, it set the stakes.
And it kept me interested. It made me want to
Exactly.
read issue 2.
Exactly. Which actually this definitely isn't a hot take, but it's something that the guy at our LCS said, issue 1 isn't really the test, it's issue 2
Yep.
that determines how successful a book is.
You got to deliver it. You got to deliver
Exactly.
on the hype that you've started. Otherwise,
Yeah, because people are going to pick up an issue 1 just kind of on principle. It's an issue 1. It's
Just
you have
in
to keep
case.
them interested to pick up the second.
So this is a little tangential, but a lot of indie books have been picked up for TV shows. We just got the announcement for Sweet Tooth. Something is Killing the Children is apparently in the works, according to Tynan.
Sweet Tooth isn't indie though.
Yeah, but isn't it creator owned by?
It's creator owned, but I don't know. Like DC
that
still publishes it.
Vertigo's
Should we
not
consider that
technically
indie?
indie, but creator owned might as well be indie.
All right,
I
fair.
feel like indie, something sort of becomes indie when it stops connecting to the sort of main two in terms of
Like
universal
universes, yeah.
integration. Yeah, like
Yeah.
Sweet Tooth is its own thing. American Vampire is its own thing.
Yeah.
Even though DC was kind enough to publish them. Um, I don't think that Geiger would translate well to the screen, but I'd be interested to see. Again, we don't know too much about it, but
Yeah.
the sort of post-apocalyptic thing in general doesn't really translate well to screen. The
It's
worst
just
scene in the Snyder Cut was the post-apocalyptic scene of the Justice League. So
them. I feel like if Geiger, just based off issue 1, if they were to hypothetically put Geiger to small screen, they're just going to compare it to The Walking Dead. Big screen, they're just going to compare it to Mad Max.
yeah, but we never know. I mean, the character of Geiger is very interesting. The world is fairly unique. It is sort of Fallout New Vegas-y in its construction, but
Yeah. So like, know what you're getting into, but at the very least, from the two of us, you're gonna have a good time.
yeah, a little bias, of course, but there's a reason that they're my favorite writing artist and colorist.
No, it's same. That trio cannot be beat.
Yeah, I firmly believe that a colorist is almost as important as the artist. I've seen some of Gary Frank's art that isn't colored by Brad Anderson, and while it's still really good because it's Gary Frank, Brad Anderson just brings like a very special level of of perfection, I guess, to the art that comes out of those two when they work together. So, I think this is a perfect place to sign off. Any last thoughts?
Last thoughts. Now that I can think of, we pretty much hit every beat. DC has, they're doing pretty good. Heroes Reborn's pretty cool. Geiger's great.
Nocturne is pretty good too, as I mentioned. Didn't want to go too deep into that one, but that book has very good world building and very good art. Again, Tony S. Daniel on artwork.
Yeah.
Very good.
Image has just been stepping their game up lately.
Yeah, I think Image realized that they had to like start competing because Boom was just taking a ton of the indie market share out of nowhere.
Yep.
They just sort of showed up and they were like, Buffy, Firefly, Something is Killing the Children, Once and Future, Berserker, which we didn't talk about, but Keanu Reeves' book is also pretty good.
Yeah.
And I think Image was just like, oh shit.
What do we have right now? We have Monstrous. Let's get some more stuff.
Yep. So anyway, yeah. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Stay tuned next week for a Disney Plus discussion, and then the week after that, I think we're gonna talk some Doomsday Clock. Start a series of rereads and discussions. Does that sound good?
Sounds good to me.
All right. Peace out. Thanks for watching.
See you next time.